All right, hello and welcome back to another episode of Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl. We have another deck tech and some gameplay footage of Sarulf, Realm Eater. It's a 3-mana, 3/3 Golgari legendary creature wolf. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Sarulf, Realm Eater. So we're playing off that 1/1 counters ability with other things that have 1/1 counters, and kind of 1/1 counters matter. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if Sarulf has one or more 1/1 counters on it, you may remove all of them, and if you do, exile each other non-land permanent with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of counters removed this way. So we can get Sarulf really big and then we can wipe them out. But we want to play off the getting them really big, and the wipe them out is kind of like the oh my god, we're in trouble thing. So the idea is 1/1 counters and kind of Golgari goodish stuff. All right, let's get into the cards. The Bloodchief's Thirst, I think it's just one of the better removal spells in the format. For 1 black mana, you can destroy target planeswalker or creature with converted mana cost 2 or less, or you can pay an extra black and 2 colorless to destroy any creature and any planeswalker. Blizzard Brawl, we are playing snow permanents, snow lands in the deck. So 1 mana to have 2 creatures fight. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, your creature gets +1/+1 gain +1/+0 and gains indestructible until the end of turn. Gilded Goose, the best of the 2 1-drop ramp spells in the format, comes into play and you get a food token. You can pay a green and a colorless and tap it to create another food token, or you can tap it, sacrifice a food token, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it's repeatable, but it takes some work to be repeatable. Snakeskin Veil, we are playing off of the 1/1 counter synergies, so this puts a 1/1 counter on a creature you control and it gives it hexproof until the end of turn. Great way of protecting Sarulf and your other creatures. We're playing with the Ozolith. It's a legendary artifact for 1 generic mana. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had 1/1 counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. Something like Pelucranos, which you can see over here, if it leaves the battlefield because of damage and it goes to 0 counters, unfortunately those counters don't go on, but if it just gets destroyed, those counters get moved over. And at the beginning of your combat, you can move all the counters from the Ozolith onto a creature you control. So if Sarulf gets big and it dies, the counters move onto the Ozolith. But if you remove the counters from Sarulf, obviously it's going to exile this because it's a 1 mana spell or permanent, but those counters would not go on it because the creature isn't being removed from play, just the 1/1 counters, which is an interesting interaction there. Stonekill Serpent, just a big creature, little creature, any creature you want. It has reach and trample. Protection from multicolored can be very, very relevant, and it comes into play with X 1/1 counters on it. Heartless Act is a great way to destroy something if it has no counters on it, or to play with combat damage if it does have. So you just play 2 mana to destroy target creature with no counters, or it can remove up to 3 counters from target creatures. You're playing against your opponent's Sarulf, you can take up to 3 of those counters off of it if it has it. Ram Through, instant speed, dealing damage depending on the toughness power of your creature. And if it has trample, excess damage goes through, so it's not fighting, it's just ramming through, as one would say, based on the card name. Scavenging Ooze plays with 1/1 counters when you exile a creature from a graveyard. 2 mana 2/2, you can pay a green to exile target card from a graveyard. If it's a creature card, put a 1/1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. This is our way of kind of playing with opponents' graveyards, and it's a good one because it does the 1/1 counter thing. Sculptor of Winter taps. You can tap it to untap a snowland. We have Wolfwillow Haven, and we have Glittering Frost as payoffs for that, like we do when I play most of my other green decks. Wilt is a 2 mana destroy target artifact enchantment for instant speed, and if you don't need it, you can cycle it. I think it's one of the better green enchantment and artifact removal spells. You see it in most of my green decks. Wolfwheel Haven, you attach this or enchant a land, and when that land taps, you add an extra green. So if you untap a snow permanent or a snow land with Sculptor of Winter, you can get 4 mana from that land. Arcane Signet taps for black or green, 2 mana. Murderous Rider and Swift End, probably one of the better removal spells in the format. 3 mana to destroy a creature or a planeswalker. Yeah, you lose 2 life. But then on the other end of it is a 3 mana 2/3 with lifelink. You can gain that life back with 1 attack or 1 block. And then when it dies, you put it on the bottom of your owner's library. Boreal Outrider, we are playing Snowlands and we are interacting with 1/1 counters. So this is a 3 mana 3/2 that if you pay Snow of the spell's colors, so let's say we cast Sarulf, obviously we're using green or black, but it has to be a snow producing mana in order to get the 1/1 counter on it. If we use Command Tower and we use the Great Henge, you won't get the 1/1 counter because you're not using snow mana. Broken Wings, another good artifact and enchantment removal spell. It also deals with a flyer. Garruk's Uprising, giving our creatures trample, especially when we're making them bigger with 1/1 counters, is great. So when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Your creatures have trample, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you also draw a card. So that's some card draw in green, which is nice. Glittering Frost, 3 mana enchanted land. That land becomes a snow land, and whenever it's tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional mana of any color you want. So we can turn a green land into a green-black, black land into a black-green, or go green-green or black-black, whatever you need at the time. Hornbash Mentor, I'm trying this one out. It puts 1/1 counters on it, on each creature with a you control trample. So if you have Garruk's Uprising out and you have the Hornbash Mentor, you can pay 3 mana to put a counter on all of your creatures. But if you don't have that out, you can put, when it comes into play, put a trample counter on target non-human creature, and then you can start putting 1/1 counters on them. Hopefully that's Sarulf the Wolf Realm Eater. We have Hydra's Blessing, another way of putting counters on creatures. So 3 mana, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you double those 1/1 counters. So it's great with Sarulf. It's great with Polukranos. It's great with Vorinclex. Then we have Invigorating Surge, another good 1/1 counter synergy card. It's 3 mana for an instant by putting a 1/1 counter on target creature, and then you double the number of 1/1 counters on it. They're again Polukranos, Sarulf, Vorinclex are great targets for this. Or this one, Grokmaw Skyclave Ranger, 3 mana, or Ravager, I should say. 3 mana, 3/3, because it comes into play with 3 1/1 counters on it. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter dies, if it had a 1/1 counter, put another 1/1 counter on Grokmaw. And then when Grokmaw dies, you get an XX black-green Hydra creature token, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Grokmaw. So it slowly gets bigger, and then when it dies, it replaces itself, which is really, really nice. Crystalline Giant. This card plays very well with the Ozolith. At the beginning of every combat on your turn, you get a random counter that's flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, or a 1/1 counter. Put that on the Crystalline Giant. You have Ozolith out and the Crystalline Giant dies. You move those counters onto the Ozolith, and then you can move them on to something else. So hexproof is the one we're really looking for, which is I think the best one of them. Replicating Ring, 3 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter on Replicating Ring. Here, another counter thing. Doesn't work with the Ozolith, but it does work with Vorinclex. If you have 8 or more ring midnight counters on it, take those counters off, and you get 8 replicated ring tokens that tap to add 1 mana of any color, and that's no mana. We have Draugr Necromancer, 4 mana, 4/4, snow creature zombie cleric. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter on it. It doesn't play very well with Sarulf. It is a cool new card, and they wanted to give it some time. And then you can cast spells from among cards in exile, your opponent's own with ice counters on them, and you may spend mana of snow sources as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So we have a lot of snow in the deck, and we have some removal, so a fun, interesting card to try and play with. Heat to Extinction, 4 mana, exile target creature or planeswalker, and then you can put whatever card, if the card on top of your library you don't want it, put it in your graveyard. Blessing of Frost, another card I haven't really given a time to shine. 4 mana to put X/1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast this spell. So if we pay 4 snow mana into it, we can put 4 1/1 counters, and then we draw a card for each creature with power 4 or greater. So we're giving it a shot. Fastward Surge, 4 mana, and Kicker of 4. Without the kicker, you search for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped. If you paid the kicker, you put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Renata, Called of the Hunt, 4 mana, star 3. Her power is equal to your devotion to green, and creatures enter the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on them. Additional. Binding of the Old Gods, 4 mana to destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls. Is that one of the new sagas? Second set is find a forest card and put it into play tapped. Shuffle your library, and the third card is kind of gravy, giving all your creatures death touch until the end of turn. Polukranos, another fun 1/1 counter creature, 4 mana for a 6/6. It comes into play with 6 1/1 counters, and if you play its escape cost from your graveyard, which is green, black, and 4 colorless, and exiling 6 other cards from your graveyard, and enters with 12 1/1 counters on it. So if it's dealt damage, that damage is prevented, but you remove that many 1/1 counters from it. So it stops lifelink, it stops death touch, and it gets smaller, but you can also pay a green, a black, and a colorless to have it fight another creature. So it's a removal spell on a stick. And it plus Invigorating Surge is a good little combo there. Iron Scale Hydra is a 5 mana 5/5. If a creature would deal combat damage, the Iron Scale Hydra prevent that damage and put a 1/1 counter on Iron Scale Hydra. So it's a great attacker, it's a great blocker. They have to actually have a non-damage removal spell, or I guess a damage-related removal spell. They can't stop it in combat. Vivian, Monsters Advocate, 5 mana for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. Looking at the top card of your library and casting creature spells from the top of it if they are there. Its +1 is to create a green beast creature token with your choice of Vigilance, Reach, or Trample counter. And if that creature leaves the battlefield or is removed, that counter will go onto the Ozolith if you have it. Its -2 is you can search your library for a creature spell with converted mana cost less than the last spell that you cast, and put that onto the battlefield. So if we cast Sarulf, you can find a 2-drop or 1-drop. If we cast Vorinclex, we can get a 5 or lower. Well, first we'll look at Blood in the Snow. It's a 6 mana snow sorcery. Choose 1, destroy all creatures, which is the normal one we use most often. Destroy all planeswalkers. I don't use that one very often, but it is there just in case. And then you can return a creature or a planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast this spell. So we have 2 planeswalkers at 6. Everything else is 5, or a planeswalker and a creature at 6. Everything else is 5 or less. So as long as we don't have Vorinclex or Garruk in our graveyard, then we only need 5 snow mana. Speaking of Vorinclex Monsters Raider is a 6 mana 6/6 with Trample and Haste. And if you were to put a counter on a permanent you control, put twice that many permanents or player. So if you put poison counters on your opponent, you would put twice the amount of poison counters. And then if an opponent would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half of that rounded down. So their planeswalkers come in with half their counters rounded down. So Vivian would come in with 1 if they cast their own Vivian. Then our last card in the deck, the Great Henge, 9 mana for a legendary artifact. It costs X less to cast, where X is the power among creatures, greatest power among creature you control. Taps at a green and you gain 2 life. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it's non-token, you put a 1/1 counter on it and you draw a card to our late game engine. We have 6 swamps, 6 forests, Slitherborn Pathway, Darkborn Pathway, Temple of Milady, Woodland Chasm is a snow duel, Bonder's Enclave to draw cards when we have a creature with power 4 or greater, Command Tower, taps for green and black, Fabled Passage to go find us a snow basic, Faceless Haven to attack if we need to attack, snow, makes it 4/3 with vigilance, it's all creature types, and Shimmerdrift Veil to choose which mana we are behind on, and it comes into play tapped, and you can tap to add 1 mana of the chosen color. Right, so Sarulf, Realm Eater, counters Matter Golgari. All right, let's get into a few games. All right, interesting way to spell Dreadnought, playing Vadrok Apex Predator. This is definitely a keeper, the keeper. And we are against the mutate. When they mutate, they can cast a converted mana cost spell of 3 or less from their graveyard without paying its mana cost. We have lands, we have dual land, we have Signet, and play turn 3 Polukranos. Hornbasher, give it Trample. Definitely a keep. There's a good one. Now we just need to find our Ozolith. Still think we're on the Polukranos play. Also nice. Some disruption. Tap land, gain land. Ever since these came out, I've kind of been off of the gain lands, because this is actually a forest and a swamp, which is really relevant for some cards. I also don't like this land. I think it's just too slow. Well, there is our Ozolith. Does that change this and this? I think it does. Giant Ozolith. Maybe they blow up the giant before the Ozolith. Nope. Well, let me go to combat. Lifelink. So this is when it leaves the battlefield. So this could get blinked and we still get the lifelink counter on the Ozolith. Oh, Showdown of the Skalds. Land, giant. Interesting. Let's I like the idea of ramping now. More so than Polukranos. Nah, that's Polukranos. And we got flying. Give it flying and lifelinker. So now whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on something. This is coming down. Would be my guess. Interesting card to have in your... Oh, Orvar. Interesting. Bye-bye, Orvar. Don't feel like dealing with those kind of shenanigans. Oh, and they decided to scoop it up. All right, on to another game. Scryed for your sins, playing Magda, Brazen Outlaw. This could be a very quick game. We have a removal spell. Yeah. Only green source though, which is kind of sketchy. They usually play the dwarf first. I think they may expose Magda. Yeah, they're exposing Magda. Hey, there's a forest. There's a signet. Let's see if the Magda does what Magda does. Be nice if we can get devour and Klex. We may not. We also have Into Extinction to... Alright, mono red. That's probably the 4 damage to a creature. Do I wish to expose my Sarulf to that? Not many other foretell cards in red. Yeah, I guess so. Bring it on. 1 damage for damage. 1 mana for damage to a creature. They're using the one from their hand. They need to find lands. Yep. Although this gives them pseudo land. Oh, that's the other foretell. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we need to do this now. We can deal with 2 1s. I don't think we need that at this point. We want other bigger things. Them being mana screwed kind of sucks, but that's part of the game. There's a 7 dwarf. Here comes a Devouring Klex. And for 6. Could get scary if they have dwarf, dwarf, dwarf. Yeah. There's a lot of damage coming at us. Land will make it green. Great Henge. Sarulf. No attack. Them hitting only 2 mana. Not so fun. Hey, there's a 3rd mana. And there's a Ember Cleave coming. Oh, who called it? Take action. And we will do this. As black. Draw a card. Let's get rid of this. I think we just need the life gain from this. No, I don't want to destroy something. I want a 2/2 or 2/3. I want to draw a card. I want to attack. Alright. Not many spells that do 5 damage. This gets double counters. It's kind of funny. And there it is. Sorry, mana screw sucks. Alright, let's do it again. The deck is doing what it wants to do, though. We got ourselves a mirror match. A Kagska. I think we can keep this. Removal spell, Draugr Necromancer is kind of cool. Finding a land. We do this first on block. Land would be great to draw on the next turn. They're not so confident as us. Hey, would you look at that? Like clockwork. Here comes Sarulf. We are going to get hit. And then we're going to put that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana next turn. There's like Sarulf Heartless Act. Oh, that sucks. Wait, basic, right? Non-basic land. Woo! Good thing I didn't put it here. There's Broken Wings. Alright, let's go find a... Sure. This. And... do this. Do that. Here, puppy dog the color. Oh, they missed the land drop. As did we. Let's do this on one of our forests. Wait, no. 1, 2 on our swamp. Make that a dual land. And then cast this. And then if you wish to use a removal spell on my Wolfwillow Haven, you may. Or on my commander, you may. Alright. Land off the top would be wonderful. Hmm, 4 mana, draw card. Didn't draw land. That is not. We'll do this. And this. And then we put Hydra Growth on the Polokranos. That could be interesting. I think what we do is we Heartless Act this thing. Here comes Sarulf. Maybe we Heartless Act this Sarulf. Make it cost 7. Nothing. No blocks. That's a good one. Please give me a land. Yeah. This is black, right? Yep. This. Draugr Necromancer. Into Heartless Act. I will take your Greater Gargaroth or Elder Gargaroth, please. And bash. I don't mind losing 2 counters if they block. That's good for me. Unless they have some weird thing giving it Death Touch. And I get a Sculptor of Winter too. Do they have some kind of pump spell? I'll take it once more. I want to get this Gargaroth. So they just remain in exile. Gotcha. Do this. This. Nothing yummy to eat there yet. Exile something from my graveyard. It's just the Draugr Necromancer. To trade with the packmate. We are behind on cards. But we do have a giant Polukranos coming up if they can't use me, deal with it. I will take it again. No blocks. Where's this so-called pump spell? What do you have? Instant speed. Let's exile this one. Foretell. That leaves me with not enough. That's could be one of many different things. Attack. 10. Play this. And end the turn. We're getting beaten down by this packmate. But we kind of have to if we want to win. Poison the cup. Only play that would make sense. Yep. And counters go on the Ozolith. Two on top. That is not a good sign for us. We pass. Cycle. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure one of these they left on top is a removal spell. Kinda have to do this. Put those there. And end the turn. We're not dead, but we are very close to being dead. Invigorating Surge makes this thing gigantic. Which we might actually do. Okay. Get to gain a metric boatload of life next turn. Oh, isn't that a thing of beauty? What a top deck. And that's good game. Haha. Wow, top decks are king. All right, I think we got time for one more game. Let's do this. All right, player 1, 2, 6, 4, 5, 2, 1. Playing Nethroi. We have no colored mana, so we are going to mulligan. We are going to keep this one. There's a land. And they play the goose. That goose is loose. Let's scry. Let's put that on top. One of our more powerful spells in the deck if we get the right cards to put it with. Make another. I don't understand why put this out when I guess they know they have black mana, but you never know what you're going to draw. I like to always play my basics first. Here. We have our 3 snow permanents. Snow, snow, snow. Okay, that's an interesting one. There's another snow. Sarulf. I think we eat the goose. Unless they have a removal spell. Which they do. Sure. And this is coming down on green now because we have enough black mana sources. This is a green source, but it's a fragile green source. Why are we gray merching this early? Okay. We have some interesting plays, one must say. I think we do this and destroy the gray merchant. Maybe that's what they want us to do. Alright, let's make some doggies if this lives. I guess they can Nethroi up this now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can Nethroi up to Thieves Guild Enforcer. Or they can do that. Finding a shoot swarm. Unfortunately, we do not have a way to deal with the shoot swarm. Ew. Oh, but it's legendary. I wonder if they go for it. That would be something if they did.
We are the apex predators.
And this +1. We're gonna make a Ricci boy. Or Ricci girl. And let the 1/1s commence. Here comes Gray Merchant. And we do this.
You're not scared of dogs, are you?
And do this. Well, we have a land. Play our land. Make it green. We have this. That gives us 4 mana left over. Yeah, let's do this. I don't want to see gray reach again. I don't want to see this thing anymore. That can go on top of the library. Yep. That's an okay draw. No attacks. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's put this out. Draws us a card. Vorinclex. Wasn't that something? There's a land. Get a couple more creatures. Create another creature here. With reach again. No attacks. Maybe I should have minused to find a 5-drop. I think we're okay. Play a land, get another Nethroi. Scavenging ooze. That's fine. Alright. Let us start by this doesn't kill that, unfortunately. Another land. Let's do this. Do this. I think it only sees the 3. Yeah. Get our scavenging ooze of our own. Protection from multicolored. That's gonna be nice. And there's a draw. Next. I think it's okay if they gain a bunch of life. We're gonna jam with all of those. Sure. Gonna let the rest go through. All right, we get 2 tokens on Garrick. We need to get to 6. It'd be nice if 3 of them died. Nope. Mm-hmm. Sure. This is... Ooh. Alright, we are playing with fire here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make 2 more 2/2s that come into play with 4 counters. And make a big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, we are 110% dead to a removal spell. Or we're dead to a board wipe. Fingers crossed they don't draw it. Mm-hmm. Well, that was a turn that I did not see coming. I could exile everything. Do I want to do that? Not really. All right, I can destroy that. Lifelink and reach. Only this had trample. This has trample though. If I destroy one of these, that doesn't do it for me. I wish I could draw this. Maybe I should have used that removal spell to... Well, we can do this here. Plus this again. Reach.
I'd like you to meet
Make 2 more of these. This is 40. Let's see what they block. They put everything in front of it, one thing in front of it. Nothing? Good game. That was a oopsies. Well, that was a game. All right. Post-game wrap-up coming on in. All right, post-game. What a wild ending to that last one. Not what I expected. Anyways, when I was building Sarulf, I originally started with more of a Golgari good stuff style of deck with the Koglas and the Burning Rune Demon, the Polukranos, just like a generic good stuff ramp with Canopy Tactician, Replicating Ring, very similar to what we were doing with our other deck, Greater Elder Gargaroth, a Battle Mammoth. I really like this Return Upon the Tide. Being able to cast it for 4 mana instead of 5 is a big difference for a reanimation spell. It just wasn't doing it for me. That's why I switched over to something like we played in this this session. More 1/1 counters related. Few really good tricks with the you can see how good Invigorating Surge is with Vorinclex being able to double and then double the counters. We got in there for a metric boatload of damage in that last game. I don't know why they didn't block. Made no sense to me. Well, I guess kind of make like it's only 20 damage coming in, but any double strikey kind of card, yeah. I guess they figured if I don't have it, I win on the crackback. But I had it. And anyways, I had fun. Hope you enjoyed watching. Lots of different ways to build Sarulf. I think this is one of the better ways. Like I said, in the other deck, we had ramp and good stuff. And to me, this one came out on top. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Mr. Pisto to you. Bye for now.